This is Faceplant, a difficult platforming game where you only control the jumping. Your goal is to get to the top without falling all the way back down. You can wishlist it now on Steam, but my bugs list has been getting pretty out of hand. Sometimes you faceplant when there is a sufficient distance between the portals. When you faceplant in a very specific position against a wall and jump, your character is launched into the air. If you faceplant a conveyor and you're against a wall, the character starts glitching out. If you fall onto a platform from a very specific angle and height and then fall off that platform, the character automatically turns around and jumps back onto the platform without you having done anything. If you press jump while you're falling, the character moves horizontally. If you faceplant onto a right conveyor while you're facing left, you move right and therefore face right. But then when you jump left even though you're facing right. There's a dark area in the game, but sometimes the dark area effect continues outside of this area and the player becomes transparent. So I'm 50% sure I know how to fix maybe 70% of these, but instead of doing that, I've been making progress on some other things. So this is my rough plan of tasks to complete. You may remember this from a previous video, but last time, which is labeled incorrectly now, I made a huge chunk of progress on level design especially. And since then, I've mainly been focusing on level design still, so now I'm here. Last time the level design was at 67% and I had just started with the portals mechanic, but I finished it off with this portal puzzle area. Which portal will you choose to go in? Now I'm 90% complete with the level design and onto the final area. Put together this document in Paint which includes all of the jumps so far, and I can just mix and match and create some interesting level designs. I also created this jump trajectory tool so I can test all the kinds of jumps without having to run the game. Check this video out to see how I made this and other tools. The final area also introduces two new mechanics, the conveyors, which basically just speed you up and slow you down depending on the direction that they're facing, and the springs. My initial idea for the springs was a little bit too simple. They're now based on momentum, and I've added in a spring bonus mechanic. It's really cool when you get it going. That's a fail. We'll try that again. It's really cool when you get it right because you just start springing all the way up. And then I just start combining everything together, and this section is incredibly fun. But I think that's all I'm going to be showing of the level design from now on. This is the end of the game. No spoilers. My new main task is the level art. So I started designing some level art with a completely new direction. I was originally going to draw each screen individually with details and unique areas because I thought it would work well for storytelling, but it's not very effective. If you think of a game like Jump King, you're mostly static, so you have time to take in your surroundings, but in Faceplant, you are constantly moving. It's just far too distracting. Lesson learned, and I'm going with a more simple approach which focuses more on the atmosphere, and I'm gonna have to think of a new way to tell the story of the game. Any suggestions? Let me know. I do like the new direction that it's going, and even managed to mess around with the parallax.
Test and oh my goodness. Ship it.
It's broken here, but when it does work, it adds a huge amount of depth to the game.
Yeah, that's way better.
It's obviously not finished yet, but definitely expect some more level art in future videos. Other than that, I've been feeling a little bit burnt out with the game, so one day spontaneously on stream, we did a little playtest tournament, which was really fun.
10 minutes. Let's see how far you can get on the cloud. Nice, nice. Doesn't jump there. Doesn't lose progress. Gets the double jump in. Gets the long jump. 3 clouds. Followed by a successive 2 cloud into 36. Oh my god. EW is god of the game. Moving past. The cloud isn't regenerated, but they've saved themselves. Second jump in. Can they make the long jump into the 2 jumps and they're on the wall? They're gonna fall, but they saved themselves again. They're right down to the bottom. EW. Nice try, nice try. Clouds is absolutely brutal.
There were no plans to do this, but it was incredibly valuable. Here's what I learned. Firstly, the game is very hard. That is how it's intended. I noticed players were struggling with some earlier sections, but then they would overcome those sections after a few tries. This isn't supposed to be an easy game, and those players who overcame their problems got that sense of satisfaction that I was hoping they would get. So that's a good thing. But I also learned that some parts of the game are incredibly unfair, and that's a bad thing. So in the game I had jumps like this. Did you spot the problem there? Basically, there are some jumps in the game which are only possible if you use the coyote timing. So coyote timing is a feature in a lot of platforming games which allows the player to jump while they've left a platform. It's a quality of life thing, but in some areas of my level design, I was basically using it as a mechanic. It's not very good design if you jump while you're on the platform and you always fail. So I've had to go through the entire level design and check for areas like this, where it's just not possible to make the jump while you're on the platform, and it's only possible to make it while you're off the platform, and tweak it so that you are on the platform. It makes the game a lot easier, but also a lot more fair, which is what I want. Because of the feedback that I got, I also introduced this sort of playground feature to the starting area of the game, which kind of acts like a tutorial. You know, you can get used to the jumps without there being any major punishment. Another thing that I changed was this. Initially in this game, you would jump and jump and jump, and maybe you'd miss this jump, and in order to try that jump again, you have to wait until you're all the way back down at the bottom. This was a point of frustration for new players, so what I did was introduce these walls which act as return points, basically. If you fail this jump, you can just quickly return and try it again, rather than having to wait until you're at the bottom. These aren't in all areas of the game. There are some areas, as you see here, where you have to kind of retrace your steps in order to make progress if you don't suck at the game. But adding them in the earlier areas is definitely helpful for beginners so they don't get too frustrated too early. Another thing playtesters brought up is that when you make it to a new area, you're basically seeing that new area for the first time and just have to immediately react because the character is always moving. That is just part of the game. Like in Geometry Dash, it's going to be trial and error until you get it right. But in order to help alleviate this, I've added the ability to look up and down so you can see where you need to make progress if you want. It is really only useful if you're in a bucket right now or if you are face planted. But I don't know, I gotta do some more playtesting with it and see if it's actually needed or not.
But now, it's time to squash these bugs.
Oh, it was actually a lot easier than I thought.